Hey guys, what we're going to be talking about today are my personal top 5 Bible study tools. And this video is really geared toward people who read their Bible regularly and maybe sometimes do devotionals, but who are really ready to take their Bible study to the next level, who really want to dig into the text and to understand it in a deeper way than they ever have before. Now, in pursuit of this goal, there are a number of Bible study aids that the Bible student can use in order to approach the text and really get a lot more out of it. And today we're going to be talking, like I said, about 5 of those. And these range, in my view, from highly recommended to absolutely essential. So without burning up any more time, let's go ahead and get into this. So here we go, my top 5 Bible study tools. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is the exhaustive concordance. Concordance is simply a listing of words and where these words can be found in Scripture. An exhaustive concordance includes every single word in the Bible. Note that not all concordances are exhaustive, so if you want to make sure that every reference to a word is included, then you need to look specifically for an exhaustive concordance. Concordances can be found for most major translations, but I prefer the King James Version, and so I use Strong's Exhaustive Concordance, which you see here. There's also a concise edition of Strong's, which is not exhaustive, so if you do go to pick up one of these, just make sure that you know what you're buying and you purchase the correct edition. But first published in 1890 by a professor of theology named James Strong, Strong's Concordance today is widely regarded as the standard. And it really is a marvel when you consider that this was accomplished without the aid of computers, or modern printing techniques for that matter. I have to give both James Strong and his printer credit for this. I can't imagine going line, by hand, collating all this, and having to lay it out on the page without errors. That just seems crazy to me. But speaking of computers, of course today we have programs where you can easily enter a word and it will give you all occurrences of the word in the Bible. And this feature is essentially a digital concordance. That's what it is. For instance, let's say we go to blueletterbible.org. This is a really interesting and useful site. It has all sorts of free resources, including commentaries and devotionals and various theological resources. You just have to check it out and explore it and see what all is here, but it really is an excellent website. But anyway, let's say we search here for the word stars. Then we will find all of these passages here that contain the word stars. And if we scroll down, we'll find what is one of my very favorite verses of the Bible, Amos 5:8. Let's go ahead and read this one just because it's awesome. Seek him that maketh the 7 stars and Orion, and turneth the shadow of death into the morning, and maketh the day dark with night, that calleth for the waters of the sea, and poureth them out upon the face of the earth. The Lord is his name. That's great. And let me tell you, this verse here really does put on full display the beauty of the language of the King James Version, because at least in my opinion, it blows every modern version away. Like if you compare them, again, this is just how I feel about it. Maybe you would differ, but in my opinion, it's not even close. But anyway, yeah, that's blueletterbible.org, and that is how you use a digital concordance. But I personally think that it's still good to have a print version on hand, even though we do have all these digital resources today. But whether you use a print version or a digital equivalent, the result is the same. Concordances are definitely good when trying to do topical studies. For instance, you may want to do a deep study on the concept of grace in the Bible. Well, a concordance can point you to every verse in which grace is mentioned. Now, a concordance may not be something that you use on a daily basis. Infrequency of use, in fact, is one reason why I have it down at number 5. But there are certainly times when doing serious, in-depth Bible study where a concordance can be very helpful. All right, number 4 on the list is the Bible Atlas. The one I have here is Biblica, the Bible Atlas, and it is a large, heavy, and also somewhat expensive volume. But there are plenty of others on the market that are smaller and cheaper, so you just need to look around and find what suits you. But despite what the name may lead you to believe, a Bible Atlas is more than just maps. It certainly does have maps, plenty of them. But it also may have historical and cultural information about the places mentioned in Scripture, as well as climate and weather information. It may have charts and maps that show the routes that were taken by biblical figures, such as a chart showing Paul's missionary journeys, for instance. It's just a lot of information about the land and how the land ties into the narratives that we read in the Bible, along with a lot of other historical information as well. I think that a lot of times we don't have a strong grounding in the geographical settings of the biblical stories. We have a vague idea that they happen somewhere far away in the Middle East, and that's about it. Bible atlases can help us overcome this and better root the biblical accounts into a specific time and place on the earth. Okay, so the next thing that I'd like to discuss are Bible dictionaries and encyclopedias. And the reason these two things are grouped together is because they really are kin to one another, because the term Bible dictionary is really something of a misnomer. When we hear dictionary, we think of something that defines words. That's not really what a quote-unquote Bible dictionary is. What a Bible dictionary really is a concise encyclopedia, and you'll see what I mean. Here before me, I have the Holman Bible Dictionary. There are a number of different Bible dictionaries on the market, and I'm sure some of the others are great, but this is the one that I use and I really like it. But just to give you some idea of the content, let's just say I wanted to learn more about the Jewish temple in Jerusalem. Well, I can open it up here and go to the T's and find this article on Temple of Jerusalem. So the article starts here and continues on, and we see it talks about Solomon's temple. And then here we have an illustration. It gives us both an exterior view and an interior view of the temple. If we turn the page, then there's more information on Solomon's temple. And then we have another heading to start a section on Zerubbabel's temple, after Solomon's temple had been destroyed. Then we have another illustration, and then on the next page it begins to tell us about Herod's temple, which was a kind of rebuilding and expansion of Zerubbabel's. And then the article finally comes to an end. So that's 7.5 pages of information on the temple in Jerusalem. I hope you can see what I mean now when I say that the term dictionary is not really accurate, at least according to our normal usage of the term. It really is more of a concise encyclopedia. Bible dictionaries are great resources for overviews on different concepts, people, and places of the Bible. So if you want to read an encyclopedic entry on something that you read about in Scripture, then you can pick one of these up and get an overview and learn a little more about it. Now, let's say you wanted to go into a little more depth and you want more information than the Bible dictionary will give you. Well, then you can turn to a Bible encyclopedia. Here's one set that I own. I've had it for a while. It's called the International Standard Bible Encyclopedia. As you can see, it comes in 4 volumes, and you can think of it as the same as a Bible dictionary, essentially, but with longer, more detailed, more in-depth articles. This is a true scholarly resource. It has articles on just about any topic related to the Bible that you can think of. Volume 3 here is about 1,200 pages in length on its own, and each volume is relatively close to the same size, so that gives you close to 5,000 pages in length. Holman's Bible Dictionary, by contrast, is about 1,700 pages and is also a smaller form factor, so that gives you an idea of how much more information you're going to get with a full encyclopedia set versus a dictionary. You will notice that this particular set is entirely black and white, which I don't love. Black and white, that is, except for this small section here of color photos that you find inside of each volume in the set. And that's nice, but I really would prefer that the whole set was in color, but that's just not the way that it is. So Now, if we go to the T's and go to this entry for temple, then we'll find that it covers much the same ground as the dictionary article that we looked at. It starts with Solomon's temple, then talks about the temple of Ezekiel's vision, which wasn't mentioned in the dictionary, and then it moves on to Zerubbabel's temple and then Herod's temple. So let's just flip through this. You'll see that it's just lots of information, lots of data in relatively small print. A few pictures here and there, but quite a bit of raw information. The article in total is about 17 pages compared to the dictionary's 7.5, and that's 17 pages that are larger, that have smaller print, and have fewer photos. So that should help you understand the difference between the two resources. Okay, so we need to talk about the one issue with Bible encyclopedias, and that's that publishers aren't putting out new ones. As far as I can tell, the two most recent ones are this set, which was published in the mid-1990s, and a somewhat newer set from Zondervan, which was published in 2005, and was an update of their pictorial encyclopedia of the Bible from the 70s. This is an issue for two reasons. First, they obviously will not include any archaeological finds or scholarly insights from beyond the time of their publication. And second, if you want a print copy, you'll have to pick up a used set off eBay or some other marketplace because they're no longer available new. Both of these sets are, however, available digitally, and if you don't insist on owning a print copy, as I do, you can get them digitally. But still, despite these issues, you can learn a ton from a good Bible encyclopedia, and I highly recommend owning one if you're serious about Bible study. Coming in at number 2 are commentaries. Commentaries are exactly what they sound like. They include commentary and analysis from one or more scholars on the Bible. Commentaries are great because they will often include linguistic, historical, cultural, and interpretive information that can bring clarity to biblical passages that may otherwise be obscure or difficult to understand or easy to misinterpret. Now, it's important to understand that commentaries are not infallible. Just because one particular scholar has a particular interpretation of a passage doesn't necessarily mean that his or her interpretation is correct, no matter what his credentials are. For this reason, I would recommend using multiple commentaries in order to get different perspectives. We can break commentaries down into various categories. For instance, one important distinction is the one drawn between devotional commentaries and expositional or exegetical commentaries. Devotional commentaries are generally light on theology and don't delve into the original languages and instead really focus on application. They want to impart spiritual insights and how they can be applied to daily life. Expositional commentaries and exegetical commentaries are more technical, more theological, and have more to do with the interpretation of Scripture and often discuss the original Greek or Hebrew. These are the commentaries that, in my experience, have been of the greatest use, but there are other kinds of commentaries as well, and I'm going to link a couple of articles in the description that will be of use in understanding the range of commentaries that are available. Another distinction worth discussing is that drawn between full Bible commentaries, which are often released in a single volume or perhaps 2 volumes, and dedicated commentaries where it's either an entire volume dedicated to a single book of the Bible, such as this commentary here on James, or it may be a single volume that covers a small handful of books, like this one that covers the minor prophets, Hosea through Jonah. The other thing that I would point out is that some commentaries are written from more theologically conservative perspectives, while others are written from more liberal perspectives. So before you purchase one, you want to research the commentary and its writer or writers in order to know what you're getting. For instance, if theologically you lean more toward the conservative evangelical side, then you may want to get a commentary from a scholar who shares your convictions. If you don't currently own any commentaries, then I would recommend starting off with a full Bible commentary that's offered in either 1 or 2 volumes. Personally, 2 that I use are the Bible Knowledge Commentary, which is written by staff members at Dallas Theological Seminary, as well as the Moody Bible Commentary, which was written, as you might guess, by the staff at Moody Bible Institute. If I were to pick just one, it would be the Bible Knowledge Commentary, simply because it is a little larger and does seem to go into a little more depth than the Moody Commentary does. These are both written from a conservative evangelical perspective, and I think they're both great places to start if you don't currently own any commentaries or if you're looking to expand your collection and you don't yet own these particular volumes. Finally, coming in at the #1 spot in our survey of Bible study resources has to be the General Study Bible. A study Bible is simply one volume that includes the complete biblical text along with a variety of Bible study resources to help study the text. And when I say a general study Bible, I mean a study Bible that isn't a specialty study Bible that has some sort of niche focus. For instance, there are all sorts of specialty study Bibles out there, from study Bibles that focus on biblical archaeology, to spiritual warfare study Bibles, to apologetic study Bibles, and so on. Those can be great resources, but before you delve into any of that, you want to make sure that you have a regular general study Bible whose focus is simply on better understanding the text. The value of a study Bible is that it's a singular resource that draws together a variety of study aids. For instance, as you see on each page here, there are study notes at the bottom that correspond with the text on that page. These study notes are essentially a commentary, albeit in concise form. And for each book, you're going to get an introduction, which gives a lot of useful information, such as who the author is, when the book was written, its historical context, and so on. You've also got full color maps, and here in the back, as we see, we have a concordance, although it is one that is definitely abbreviated and is not going to be an exhaustive concordance. Also on each page, you'll see here that we have cross-references to direct you to other passages that are related to passages on this page. And then we also have a variety of articles, such as this one here, which go into various theological topics and try to provide some additional explanation on key issues. Different study Bibles will have different sorts of study aids, but from my experience, most follow this general template. Some are certainly better than others though, so I would highly recommend trying a few out in order to find the ones that you really like. Personally, after owning maybe, I don't know, somewhere around 10 study Bibles at this point, I've definitely come to favor some over others, and I would have to say that this one here, the Holman KJV Study Bible, is probably the best that I have ever owned. I really do love this Bible. The notes are extensive and useful, the articles are good, the book introductions are more extensive than many other study Bibles I've seen, and it's just all around a very good product. I do believe this study Bible has gotten a facelift since I purchased it, and it looks a little different now. But from what I've been able to tell by comparing photos of the new one with this edition, it's the same Bible in terms of content. They just updated the look a little. For anybody who's interested in picking this one up, I will be sure to link to the current edition in the description. Everyone should have at least one good general study Bible in their collection. 2 or 3 good ones is even better. The study Bible really is, in my opinion, the foundation of advanced study. You should start there and then build the rest of your collection of study aids, such as commentaries, encyclopedias, and so forth, on top of this foundation. So that's it. 5 Bible study tools that I personally think that every Bible student should have in their collection. Now, I myself really prefer physical books. And so I encourage everyone to get physical copies of these resources. But if you're a digital guy or girl and that's just how you like to roll, then you should be able to find digital versions of everything that we've discussed here today. But yeah, whether you go physical or digital, I would highly recommend that every serious student of the Bible has these tools in their tool bag, or arrows in their quiver, if you will. I really hope that you have found this interesting and useful. If you have, do all the usual stuff. Click like, subscribe, comment, and I hope this video has blessed you today, and we'll see you next time.